I love to sound smart, I guess. And so when we just kind of, go right into our discussions, sometimes I'm like, oh, but I want to be able to like, really, sound really awesome. But then I have to remind myself that aren't my like genuine true emotions and reactions to the show and the things that I am so super excited about and first think of right after I watch it, aren't those the things that show the true appreciation of the material in the moment of, we are in the moment watching it, and an in the moment discussion truly fits. And if I don't get to sound as cool as I want to sound, I am just glad that I am able to try to, I guess, authentically put how I feel about it forward, at least.
When we first started AutoSave, we got a comment on one of our like first vlogs or something asking about, this is back before we started Attack on Titan and we were reading comments, but asking about like what autosave meant and stuff like that, why we picked autosave. And coming from somebody who, before we did reactions, I watched reactions of Blind Wave and a couple other channels of my old favorite shows like Naruto or My Hero Academia, Hunter x Hunter. And I think a lot of it is because when I watched insert your favorite iconic moment from an anime here for the first time, there will never be anything that can come close to me feeling the way that I did the first time that I watched it. And I will always live my life wishing that there was something I could do to specifically reset a memory of a show so that I could watch it again for the first time. And once we're able to react to it for the first time, sure, but I think that talking about your feelings about something right afterwards is the closest, at least like the next step for me in maybe one day revisiting how I actually felt when I finished watching that show, when I finished watching that moment.
I don't know if you feel this after we get done, but there's like a massive like relief, as if we just went through a venting session. There's all of this like emotion and thought and excitement that we pack into trying to talk to each other about the show after.
And it never feels like we do enough.
And it never, and we might walk away from this room and be like, oh, we didn't talk about Falco and Gabby enough last episode.
Yes.
I was pretty upset at myself for that. I was like, come on, that's of course, I love. Why would I not spend so much time on Falco's confession? But we are just so in the moment here, like with each other.
We're so in the moment that we just went on like a 30-minute tangent rather than going, chronologically through the episode.
And that's totally okay. I'm cool with that. I don't know if other people are. I'm cool with it for now.
But maybe to get back into it.
Yeah, we should do that.
We're about like 4 minutes in the episode. But this is around the time that Reiner needed Porco to get up. And Reiner reached for Porco and asking him to find the strength. And on the touch of...
the touch.
Reiner's hand meeting Porco's hair. Porco is given the memories of Marcel, who previously held the Cart Titan before Ymir, and now...
the Jaw Titan.
Sorry, my bad. The Jaw Titan. And I wonder, do you think that it's just another example of, obviously in the moment, it's extremely stressful and emotional, but then the 2 points of Armored Titan and Jaw Titan connecting again would reawaken that shared space, those shared channels that every Titan is connected to, every person with the power of the Titans is connected to. And that is what awakens this memory from Marcel that Porco is now reliving.
I can get on board with it by how I believe, like what I believe about really, really strong emotions that can be tied specifically to memories. Especially when we have such topics as trauma in this show, the power of memories. I mean, it fits so well that
it changes who you are.
It does, and for that to be all of the emotions and all of the power of these memories to be able to create this connection and transference of memories, it feels really easy to me, like for me to like believe it and follow it. And for that to happen in that moment, I was like, oh, that so good. And I didn't know what was going to come of it. Once we saw that memory transfer, I was like, is this just something that Porco needs to see before Reiner dies, and we're getting kind of a bookend to their frenemy ship, or is this something else? And obviously it was. It, I think, created an action that I don't know if Porco would have done without getting and receiving these memories.
Porco is like Jean a little bit.
I like a somewhat comparison there.
But sorry, but no, I completely agree. It does come easy.
He's like Connie and Jean mixed together.
Yeah. To give Porco the credit that he deserves, because he doesn't get a lot of shine. I think like two discussions ago or something, we were talking about, like,
I think it was last, and I was talking about the two of them.
I am really glad with how it progressed here, because it leaves Porco off, and like with his dialogue that he gave too, this is his, like, he won it, like he was always the stronger one. It's like a redemption of sort, because Marcel arguably took Reiner's life away, and this could be Porco giving it back even for a short time.
It's like him realizing that his brother tried so hard to protect him makes him he does say that he's doing this because he believes he has the least likely chance at the moment. He is, more weakened, I guess, in this moment than Reiner currently is.
It's supporting the decision that...
And it's almost like seeing those memories of his brother made him be like, even if he truly wasn't doing it for a mature motive, might have been like, I'm gonna be mature about this, and this is what, I should do.
Well, in the matureness of it, like, couldn't you see it? Like, Porco sees what happened, sees that Marcel intentionally inflated Reiner and deflated Porco to superiors so that he could spare Porco's life. It could be like Porco realizing, oh my god, that should have been me. Reiner should have never had his life taken like that and, like, used. It should have been me all along. This is me giving back what Marcel potentially, like, took from you,
But then that also opens up other kind of door and question, that is, but is that what Reiner wants? Is this just two brothers affecting Reiner's life in ways that he has not asked for directly to them? Are they both making choices that are affecting him, without his control in this situation? Because Reiner, right before Porco made his decision, was like, I wanted it to go to Falco. He was gonna die in like a couple years, hoping to be to Falco.
It was very specific though, because my takeaway is that Reiner wants to feel like he can rest and then rest. And I think that the only reason or one of the main reasons that Reiner was in that second, like, I'm being specific about that second, okay with it and coming to terms with it, was because in that second, he thought that it was over. He thought that, like, he didn't have to worry about the Eren Zeke meeting. He thought he did his deed, he did his job. There was nothing to worry about going forward. So now his time is up, And
there's another player in this scenario, and that is Gabby watching this. The cousin, the family connection to Reiner, the family member that, Colt is gone at this point. Colt cannot...
we're skipping around so much, dude. We're like
we were at the connection
chronologically.
And then the memories.
We're where Colt pulls up with Falco pleading to the orangutan. I
don't have to say anything.
No, I want to apologize real quick because you made a really good point that we missed out a little bit on Gabby and Falco's moment last episode, and I felt bad about it too. And I think sometimes I don't know what people are thinking, or if they watch what we're putting out, and I don't want to, like, just bore people or go on. But I think you make a good point, and I think that we should appreciate or at least bring attention to the moments that happen in a chronological order, because I'm not smart enough to remember them all to recall them if we pass it. I think that Colt going up to the orangutan and saying, like, slaughter as many people as you want. Eldians, Marlians, it doesn't matter. Just wait until Falco gets far enough away. We don't know a lot about Colt. We don't get to spend a lot of time with him. But holy shit, is this real? You know, I loved this interaction, and I loved narratively Zeke's response to it, and it was brilliant. It was the only thing on Colt's mind, you know? Like,
honestly, I mean, when he said to Zeke, the only reason I'm here in this position is similar to you, is similar to an experience that you had and connections that you have, which is family members and being turned into pure titans. And that is what Colt was trying to avoid all along, is that he and his brother would also be punished, you know, and that their family, the other family members that hadn't been punished, would get punished for their connection. And to have your little brother who you were trying to do this so that this wouldn't happen in like a Marley punishment sense,
yeah,
it's now happening, and you're trying to stop it. And I want to be a part of that hug in order to, I don't know why, it hurts.
You know what's interesting too? Colt has all the information that someone would need to have to be able to think of, like, okay, if Falco does turn, there are ways that I could get him back, at least for a short period of time, if he inherits one of these abilities. All that, in my opinion, fucking out, like, rightfully so, out the window, bro. Like, if this is my brother in the moment and I learn this information that, like, oh my god, orangutan's here, he has this power, if he uses it, then my brother's gonna turn. All logic and taking a second to think about what's best is out the fucking window, dude. I am full sprinting as fast as I can to that fucking orangutan fuck to try to convince him to let me save my little brother.
Another thing that you could possibly go with is that maybe Colt kind of felt comfortable with the idea that Gabby was beating Falco out for a Titan. You know, maybe Colt was like, okay, well, we're both candidates, so we're both honorary Marlians at this point because Falco is in my family. I'm gonna inherit the Beast Titan. That means Falco doesn't have to do any of this.
Did Colt ever do anything that was similar to how Marcel put Porco down to save him? Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Was Colt, like, you know, maybe happy with the fact that Falco was not doing as well as the other candidates and probably wasn't going to actually inherit a Titan. You know, we know that once one person becomes a Titan and gets the power in Marley, the whole family is protected.
Yeah.
And so it really only needed to be one of them.
Dude, I'm getting, like, emotional in a way that I didn't when it was happening, to see expressions are drawn so well in the show, man.
When they switched to from this hug to Gabby, and
I'm just looking at Colt saying, like, I'm here for you, because he already knows that it's coming, and he has no fucking care for self-preservation. He's just like, I am here for you, Falco. Like, what, like, through the pain, through whatever's to come, like, you know, God. And then looking at Gabby reaching for him, the effect, you know, of it reminds me what people's opinions are, not people's opinions, people's experiences are who have lived to tell the tale of what it's like to witness a nuclear explosion. And there's a, like, long story short, there were a group of people on aircraft carrier who were a little bit away of a nuclear explosion, and part of almost like a experience or test of what it's like to be around it or be in the vicinity of it. And all of them were told to, like, do everything you can to close your eyes, cover your face, cover your ears. And even though they all did that, all of them said that they could see through their eyelids. They could see through their hands. And it's
this
almost
coloration
this, like,
does really, I guess, have that effect. Yeah.
It's like
there's something about it that it kind of it's how could just coloring people in this way evoke such kind of fear within the viewer is so interesting. That a use of color, especially a bright color, a yellowish color. Normally colors that are synonymous with feeling grace or power, happiness. And in a way, I just said grace, and now I'm like, oh, and Yelena thinks Zeke's god, god with godlike powers, and Zeke's doing this. Interesting little thought there. And then we get Pixis. Is he drinking?
Yeah, but I'm glad that out of every character we saw turn,
we got a little more time with him.
Fucking hate that Niall's dead. I'm so upset that Niall's dead.
There's still some people to eat, so with Titan powers.
I
don't want Niall to be dead.
I think that Niall being dead is Falco's fate of meeting Niall's family, potentially.
It's because of Niall's interaction with Falco.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It is kind of fated that Niall would not survive and Falco would here.
But the shot of Pixis, I'm glad that if anybody got it, Pixis not only had a longer moment, but he came to terms with it. And I know that I'm saying that completely the story didn't tell me that in captions, but just the way that his his pupils changed and how his eyelid closed halfway. He completely realized what was happening and he accepted it in that moment and then closed his eyes.
This might be Anna crazy time, but is there any credence in thinking that maybe Pixis hadn't actually had wine before this and he decided to do a similar thing to Erwin and lead his men where they needed to go in this and die with them?
Yeah.
Especially we get a shot of him drinking at the very end there, and he did have, I believe, the colors of his bands switched. I didn't think he had drank anything at first, and then it seemed like he was wearing the one that he had, and he said, I believe, to either Connie or Armin, oh, I drink too much. And so I'm thinking that's not, totally crazy to put out there as, a question or possibility that maybe he hadn't actually had any of the wine.
I think he did, but I really like that as, a theory.
I don't think I'd ever hear, if that was true or not. I don't know if that's even important to know the truth of that, and sometimes not knowing everything is beautiful.
Yeah,
especially when I want to know everything. To feel at peace with not knowing everything is a very nice experience to feel.
Yeah. After that we get to where
Falco is trying to eat Reiner
out of his
Gabby
nape.
Is looking.
Do you
Falco
think that Falco's trying to eat Reiner's nape because that's what the orangutans telling him to do? Because it's trying to take down Reiner? Or because in some roundabout way, Zeke's trying to still save Falco?
I don't think so.
Gotcha.
Well, I like it. Actually, I like it, but then I'm gonna be ooh, I don't know, because Titans have this weird sense of where people are, in houses and inside. So it was the closest person to him that wasn't Zeke or Colt. Well, Gabby, I guess, was closer. Interesting. So maybe you have a point there, because Gabby, I believe, was in a closer proximity to Falco.
Well, we know Orangutan can control the Titans and he turns
so,
a bit, but...
that is an interesting, question of, did Zeke, even though Zeke said to Colt, basically, I'm prioritizing my brother and me.
Yeah.
Did he control Falco in any which way in order to have the miscalculation survive?
Eren creating the whole crystal and then jumping out.
Jumps out of it.
And somersault.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a jumping out of a window. It's so great.
And then he's running.
So good. God, how is this 22 minutes? I cannot wait to talk about something as we come to it a little later on. But glad you noticed Eren. What does this mean? Imitating Peak and pretending to be dead worked
because
perfectly.
Peak did the skeleton thing and then hit under it so that Magath could be on top.
You're right.
And then so I was gonna say
funny.
this just as a funny bit. That when Eren was running, it reminded me of something in Mob Psycho. If anyone's seen Mob Psycho, I'm not going to say, but you might know.
Yeah.
You might know if you have.
Yeah.
And it just made me laugh a little bit when we rewatched Eren running like that.
Okay, 12 minutes and 1 second. That is when we
Gabby.
first are behind Gabby, holding up the rifle and seeing Eren in the distance. This is the moment that I first felt like some fucking lunatic built the entirety of this episode in Unreal Engine in 3-dimensional space. And for the rest of the episode, he was just dropping cameras down in this 3-dimensional space and letting us see his work.
This angle should not have existed.
It's not the swivel, man. Yeah. The fucking swivel. God damn it.
Dude, the stills.
It's so good.
And the slow-mo that was involved in this episode too was like snapshots from the manga. There was something so amazing and great about that. I think
this might be like one of the only times ever in any type of fiction or like any type of media I've ever seen, I've appreciated slow motion and stills. Like it was so powerful in conveying the scale and the timing of everything that was happening here.
Mm-hmm. There's not a cheapness to it. You know, it's no shortcut to do the stills here.
It's the opposite.
Is very purposefully placed to kind of evoke gravity of a situation and really kind of show you and let you, like, in the moment understand where every single person is and what they're currently going through and feeling. And it worked. It worked really well.
It worked so fucking well. It was, honest to God, like, I couldn't take my eyes off, you know?
I mean, just like the shot you have on the screen right now.
Yeah, fucking Aaron's
Hey, editor, can't take your eyes off.
Yeah. Holy shit, Aaron got beheaded. I don't know what else to say, you know?
That was... Did you ever expect that that was gonna happen?
No, I just see, like...
No, I thought Zeke was gonna... Out of the two brothers, I was like, if one of them is gonna have a horrifying injury or death in that way, it was not gonna be... I was like, Aaron is gonna just keep walking, you know, through his hell and survive.
All I can imagine is Zeke being like, no head, and then breaking a skateboard. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I can imagine.
Oh, that's funny.
But no, I truthfully, this was one of the moments that I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to talk for like 10 minutes, like after we finish this episode. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck does this mean? What does this mean for the story? What my mind just like shut off at that point.
I just know that like after this episode, once we are like, you know, I don't know, am I gonna cry? Am I not gonna want to talk for a few hours? Maybe, I don't know. But let's get into this mid-roll that you just pulled up.
Hell yeah, you want to read it?
Sure. So, Scream. Eldians who have ingested Zeke Yeager's spinal fluid transform into pure titans from his scream. Losing their own will, these titans obey Zeke regardless of who they are or their lives before. So, in that mid-roll, we get the language of obeying Zeke, which could further that he had indeed control over Falco in Falco's actions. Of course, if Zeke did have control over Falco, he would not have him eat Gabby, the other miscalculation. So, he wants the kids to survive and not suffer. But, you know, everyone has an inner child, and I think you should protect all of them.
We got, right after the mid-roll, the flashback to what we partially saw in Season 4, Episode 15 of Zeke and Aaron's meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to know what exactly we got here right next to what we got last time and see where they cut it. And like, because I think it was right in the middle of the throw.
It was right before, it was, I don't even think we thought it was a throw. I thought it was just like a handing over of the baseball.
No, we saw the toss.
But I in no way thought it was like gonna be where Aaron was gonna not just be like, oh, cool. And,
exactly.
Like, hold it.
Which is like amazing and great. But it also like led us to a reaction of Zeke, you know? Like Zeke definitely made a face when Aaron didn't catch it.
It's like, yeah, like you said earlier, the first sign to Zeke that he couldn't fully 100% put his trust into Aaron having the same goals in mind as him. That their hearts weren't necessarily in the same place. Okay, I need to write this down so I remember it. I'm writing down key so that we can bring that back up later.
Fuck yeah, we are.
I don't want to forget anything that is like absolutely that I want to talk about.
Why do you think Aaron dropped it?
Oh, I think it was purposeful.
You think he isn't just feeling a little sluggish or has never played catch before?
There's some statement he's making with how he looks back at Zeke here after picking
There's
it
no
up.
shot. He's not that stupid unless this is like a 70 chess move and we don't like. And at the end of the episode, they're faking us out again, and it's like a fucking triple agent kind of scenario. Because like the way that they portrayed Eren this episode, he wouldn't make like that obvious of a like hint to his true allegiance by doing this here.
Well, I guess it'd only be if you thought someone was suspicious of you that this would be an obvious choice not to do. So are we possibly getting that Eren didn't think Zeke would be suspicious with him after he says the thing about his father raising him to be a certain way and him realizing his father was wrong? Maybe he thought that was just like the icing on the cake. He had sold his story with those words, and that there wouldn't be any more suspicion of him after that.
Yeah.
It's possible. He really did say the right thing in that moment to Zeke, but then the dropping of the ball was just planted there.
And where Eren missed the catch, Zeke made it. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't want to look at Eren's head? This is the moment that I first felt like some fucking lunatic. This is the moment that I first felt like some fucking lunatic. Like some fucking lunatic.
Like some fucking lunatic.